Topo Athletic is committed to lifelong health and better movement. Topo builds running shoes for those who get out there every day regardless of weather, speed, energy, or mood. Their distinctive fit and feel combines instinctive human movement with modern performance and lightweight comfort to help you keep going, keep trying, and keep moving. Discover the Topo difference and step into a run experience unlike any other.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Instagram Live Fireside Chat. I believe this is episode 57. Today we're going to be joined by Karen Allard, who is the founder of SBR Sports. You probably know them more through TriSlide, but they have a whole host of products that we'll be talking about. Before I bring Karen on, I want to make sure that you guys know that if you sign up for our newsletter right now, through our links in our bio, you will get our most recent digital magazine, the May-June 2023 issue featuring Zach Bates on the cover, plus new contributors, Michelle Simmons with coaches tips and Kylie Van Horn with the nutrition tips as well. The whole entire issue is about journeys to our finish lines, and so they're great, inspiring stories. So make sure you check out our newsletter and sign up for it. Get there, and the new magazine will be delivered directly to you. I just invited Karen on, and perfect timing, as I just was saying I was inviting Karen on. Karen, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Hi, Jason. I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. You know, this has probably been one of the more seamless invitations and acceptances to get on this Instagram Live that we've ever had. So,
yay!
Whatever you're doing on the technology side over there, keep it up.
Everybody in my office right now is cracking up at you right now. They know me.
So I introduced you before I brought you on as the founder of SBR Sports, and I told the folks that they probably know you more through the product, specifically TriSlide, than the name SBR Sports at this time. But before we jump into those products and the other ones going forward, I want to touch base with you on being a female entrepreneur, but also, like, what was your inspiration to getting SBR Sports started? And then we'll talk about the female entrepreneurship component.
Well, back in, gosh, I want to say it was about 2000, I was racing. I was doing triathlon. And, you know, being in the pool and you're going up and down, you're marinating in the water, and nothing. I was having, at the time, I was having expensive haircuts and colors done, and I needed something to protect my hair. Plus, my skin was just so dry. So as I was swimming, and I'm no stranger to starting businesses just because it's kind of in my family.
Okay.
So I just thought, oh, maybe I'll start a chlorine out line, because at the time there was just Ultra Swim, and then there was Paul Mitchell, and that was expensive back then. And I just wanted something that was going to be a salon quality, but it was going to be affordable for all athletes, because to be honest, that's the last thing you want to spend your money on. You want to spend your money on bikes and fun things like running shoes and outfits and nutrition, but not personal care products. So I worked with a chemist, and we were very fortunate because he was the same one who put together Bedhead and Pureology and Epicurean. So he was very familiar with the salon quality that we were looking for. And he said, no problem. And he whipped something up, and, you know, back and forth, you know, testing with athletes. And then we came out with TriSwim. And that is still our bread and butter. It's, we came out with the shampoo, the body wash, and the lotion. And within months, we had a conditioner. So we started off selling to the triathlon market just because that's what I knew. I was a USCT coach. I was a swim coach. I competed. I owned a team back then. And so that's all I knew. And then really quickly, it got into the masters swimming market. So that's kind of how we got started. It's out of a need. It's pretty much like all, you know, entrepreneurs, they create something out of a need.
Well, that little piece there gave me two questions that I hadn't written down. So first things first, like you said, you found somebody to help you formulate the products. Did you have a background in, you know, skincare or anything like that? Or you were just like, I need to do a Google search to find somebody who can help me?
Yeah, well, back then we didn't have Google searches, not really. So it was kind of silly. Long story short, we were in Mexico. I thought I wanted to do a sunscreen for parts because my daughter, she wanted cornrows, you know, how the kids all do. And so I thought, okay, well, let me go to, being naive, let me go to a packaging person. I didn't know I loved packaging as much as I do. And I went to a packaging person, found like a Doppler thing, and she goes, oh, do you have the sunscreen? I go, oh, no, what? And she said, I would call this company. And so they happened to be right down the street. I called them and we hit it off and they took me on board. And it was great because I didn't know anything about it. And they just really took me under their wing. And since then, that is my favorite thing to do in the company is product development and packaging and marketing. I love the marketing and the art.
So I happen to be a teacher of marketing at the college level. And I always tell my students, like, just do it. Like, don't worry about having all the answers to all the questions. Start today. True.
It's like having a child. It's like, just do it. There's never a perfect time. You know, you just,
Exactly right. There's never a perfect time. And that's what I would emphasize to them too. And you just emphasize that even more so with your story. You're like, oh, wait, I need to have the product, right? So, okay, let's figure it out.
Well, I think, but you do have to go in cautiously, you know, that is where, and, you know, me running my household for so many years, I have 3 kids, you know, and I was always balancing the home life and, you know, the budget and everything. So that's one thing is you have to be very careful about how much you spend. You can't go hog wild and, you know, just spend everything. Yeah. So.
Exactly. So 2.5 years ago when I started Run, Try, Bike, I said, here's how much money I'm willing to burn, right? Like I was willing to lose X amount of, and if it was gone in a day or if it was gone in 15 years, who knows? That's what I was willing to do. So I took that same concept, right? That cautious approach. Let's figure. The difference was I happened to be in marketing and advertising for 28 years before I launched my. I had some background.
You had some background. Yeah, I didn't have a background, but you know, you just use common sense. That's a lot of it is common sense.
The other thing you mentioned, you owned a team. So what was the team? How did you get started in owning a team and moving that forward? And how did you grow that business?
Okay, so back in the day, and I want to say it was like 2003, maybe. I can't remember all the dates. I was coaching for this one gal, and she owned what was it called? Orange County Divas, I think it was.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyways, so I trained women and I love coaching. I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably still be swim coaching. And, you know, that's what I do too on the side, just for fun, is I coach small businesses. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I was doing that. And then I went into getting my USAT certificate. And then I had to quit the OC Divas or whatever it was called. I can't remember. But then some of the gals that I was coaching, they were so sad and they said, well, why don't you start coaching us? So then that's how we started putting together a team. And then some guys came on board too. So we just changed it to SoCal Tri Team.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're a serial entrepreneur. This is fantastic.
Yeah. I know. Oh, you should hear some of the other things I've tried.
I'm in the same boat. Like I've had 2 or 3 other failed businesses already. And just yesterday, and by the way, for those of you that are listening, Karen and SBR Sports is a partner of ours too. Katula is a partner of ours. And I sent them an idea that I had the other day because I was like, oh, you guys have, you know, gaiters for running, but, you know, mountain bikers and gravel cyclists get mud and muck on their stuff too.
Yep.
So just send them an idea, right? And so don't be surprised if now that I know that you're a serial entrepreneur, if I don't.
Well, you know, I've done that before. Well, actually, we've had people contact us, and that's how we came out with Skin Slick. So we had Tri-Slide, which is a continuous spray skin lubricant. And then we had runners that were contacting us saying, you know, this is the best anti-chafe, anti-blister product we've ever used. And so because of that, we came out with Skin Slick because it wasn't so tri related. Sometimes runners, well, back in the day, cyclists didn't like triathletes and runners didn't like triathletes. Now it's kind of like everybody gets along, right? But, but you know, back in the day, that's how it was.
get along with anybody else anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's still there.
So.
So tell us where can, you mentioned Skin Slick, you mentioned Dry Slide, you mentioned your skincare and hair care products as well. Outside of SBRsports.com, where else can other people find your products then? Have you grown that?
Yeah, we've grown. So we started in 2004 and now we're global. So we've been all over the world for quite a while. I have an office in Poland. And we manufacture a lot of our products over there too. And so because I have the office over there, they handle all of the European stores and distributors and the Middle East. Okay. And then we handle, out of our office, which is in Santa Ana, California, we handle United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all of Asia. And then China, we don't have Tri-Swim over there. We have SBR Swim. And that was a whole nother story. We had trademark issues. So we had to change the name, but it's basically the same product over there.
Yeah. Fascinating. So you're looking at global marketing then. What do you find to be like the most challenging part of marketing a brand like yours globally?
Yeah, it is challenging. And that's why I have an office over in Europe, because Europeans, especially Eastern Europe, they look a lot different. Their marketing is different. The colors that they use for marketing is different. The message that they're sending out. And then also we have all the languages over there too. Yeah. So thank goodness my president, Marcin Logan, he handles all the currencies, all the Amazons. You know, here we're very fortunate. Amazon, we have Amazon USA. That's it. Over there, they have Amazon Poland, Amazon UK, Amazon Italy, Amazon Germany, I think it is. Yeah. It's just, and each one has their different set of rules, and each one has a different language. So, and each one has their different artwork too, with the languages.
Just about to ask you that, because with us, your advertisements, whether they're in our digital magazine or the banners, they are super vibrant colors, right? They jump off the page. When you mention different colors in Europe, are you using vibrant colors? Do they have to be more muted, or are they even more wild?
Well, no, they're not more wild. They kind of Europe follows United States. And I think a lot of United States, or, the East Coast follows California. So we always think, well, we like to think it, but I don't know if it's true, that we're kind of the ones the pioneers of what things are going to look like. And so we have such a fun company to work for. I mean, everybody who works for me has just such a good sense of humor. It's like a family. And so we want to reflect that in our products. And so that's why we have so many different vibrant colors, and plus my background was in art too. So it gives me a little outlet. For
those of you that are just joining us, my name is Jason Bahamundi. I'm the founder of Run Try Bike. I am talking with Karen Allard, who is the founder and owner of SBR Sports. We were just talking about some of her products and where you can find them, and the challenges of being an entrepreneur who's running a global business, and where you can find their products and Karen's products. So speaking of products, let's continue down that path. So we've talked about, again, the hair and skincare products. We've talked about Skin Slick and Dry Slide. What other products do you have that our audience should know, and what else can we be looking forward to for your products?
Well, we have Foggies, and that's an anti-fog wipe. And again, all of these products were created out of a need. So Skin Slick and Dry Slide, they were created because back in the day, we used to use PAM to put our wetsuits on. But anything vegetable based or petroleum based is going to ruin your neoprene. And I didn't believe that until it happened to me. And so I thought, what do I like about PAM? Well, I came up with, a silicone. It's a special blended silicone that's in like an aerosol, that sprays on like PAM. So then we have Foggies, which is an anti-fog wipe. And I was doing an open water swim one time, and how you had the drops and you put the drops in. Well, you have to look for a clean cloth. I didn't have a clean cloth because everything was infested with sand. So then as I was swimming, I'm thinking, why hasn't anyone ever come out with an anti-fog infused on a little soft towelette. So that's what we have. And the nice thing about Foggies is you can get 6 applications out of one wipe.
Oh, wow.
So you may, yeah, so you may buy a box of 6 and you can get 36 swims out of one.
And for a guy like me, that's probably a good 2 to 3 months worth of swimming.
Yeah. I don't want to hear that. Yeah. So, but what I always say to people about the Foggies is that you wait till your anti-fog goes on your goggles. Cause you know how it always goes after, 4 times, no matter what, it's going to go after 4 times, 4 or 5. And then you start using the Foggies. So it extends the life of your goggles. It also, one time I remember I was in line, I was at a tier sale, and this guy, he was standing back of me with his daughter, and he said, "Oh my gosh, you should try this product. It's called Foggies." And he didn't know who I was. And he said that it saved his daughter because she had, when they have the foam goggles, well, sometimes that foam develops bacteria in the foam. And so they were using the Foggies to not only defog her lens and clean it, but they were cleaning the foam as well. And it acted as an antibacterial, and her rash went away.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So then let's see what else. We have our brush that we just came out with.
Breaking news.
And breaking news, it just came out and we launched it at the United States Masters Swim Meet, which was here in Irvine. And oh my gosh, people were going crazy. Everybody was saying it's the best swimmer's brush they've ever used. So that one's called Da Brush.
I'd love
the
to
brush.
See customer, but it sell.
Yeah, it wouldn't work here. However, my dad, who has no hair, I said, "Dad, do you want a brush?" And he goes, "Oh no." And I go, "You can massage your head, and you do it in circular patterns, and it stimulates your scalp. It's nice." Yeah, it's nice. So we have that. We also have Tri-Swim Kids, which is basically it's just our regular shampoo, conditioner, body wash, lotion, but in kids packaging. But for 2 years, we've been in formulation for our Tri-Swim Kids Swim Suds line. And that is the only natural, tear-free, chlorine out, 2-in-1 product. It's a shampoo body wash on the market in the world. So for those parents who are a little concerned about chemicals, and this one is the product you're going to want to use to take the chlorine off of your kid's skin and hair.
So you mentioned a lot of the products that you have are born out of necessity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs it. So is the brush the same way? And then how long does it take for you to hear somebody say, or somebody reach out to you and say, "Hey, do you have something like X?" that you start to really dive into the lab and say, "Can we develop this for our business?"
Well, because we are all super creative people, we get excited when people call in and say, "Hey, what about this? What about that?" Now, some of them, it doesn't work. Some of them we're like, "No, that's not gonna happen." But other ones, we think, "Oh, that could be something." Like, for instance, Andrew, one of my guys, he was at the USMS meet, and he had several people coming up saying, "Do you have a detangler? Do you have, a conditioner? Or what is it called? Well, leave-in conditioner." Yeah. So I think we're going to start, working on that. We're working on some other things that I don't want to say right now, but there is one thing, very exciting thing that's going to launch, and that's called Dermasport. So Dermasport, we used to have it. It was developed for swimmers to take to take the chlorine off of your facial skin. And, which we're experts in that, but this does it gently. And so it's an anti-aging, it removes the chlorine. It helps with acne, because a lot of swimmers will get acne from the chlorine. If they don't take it off their skin, their pores overcompensate and create more oils, which then clogs the pores. So anyways, this helps with it. But for 4 years, we've been, pretty much testing out the original. And now we've sent it back to the chemist and with changes, and we reformulate it. We're rebranding it. We've worked with a dermatologist, and he's been a lifelong swimmer. So he's been consulting us. We've got some Olympians on board, and we're very excited about this product that's coming out.
So
very excited.
it sounds super exciting. Are there applications for people who aren't swimmers that could use
Yeah.
something like this product?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, well, first of all, it has the cleanser, the moisturizer, the eye cream, and why am I forgetting something? Oh, the sunscreen. The sunscreen is going to be amazing. It's like we've been testing it out, and it just feels so amazing on your skin. But sorry, what did you ask me?
So I was asking the application for people like myself who's sort of at a triathlon and more into ultra
Right.
running.
Okay, so we developed this for people who have dry skin and like my skin's normal to oily, but it works great. But with chlorine is in all tap water. So you don't realize how much damage chlorine is doing to your hair and your skin until you take it off. And that's kind of the same with our foggies. You don't realize how dirty your goggles are from licking it, to try you. And then you use it and you're like, oh my God, I can see the bottom of the pool. But with this Dermasport, I'm telling you, be on the lookout for this. We've got it in pump containers. The packaging is beautiful. But yeah, that one's going to be amazing.
Is the packaging you're doing?
No, I can't take credit on this one. This is the first time that we've sent it out to, an outside agency. And because we did have to compete, that's where I was very naive when I came out with Dermasport in the very beginning, because I felt like we had such a following for TriSwim that it would be a natural progression. People would buy the Dermasport, but there is so much competition with facial skincare. So that's why we kind of pulled it away. We partnered with another major swim company. I don't want to say who they are. Not sure if I can, but no, it's a very exciting product, and it's going to change your skin.
So when you say you partnered with another company, is it going to be a co-branded product that goes out then?
It's going to be on its own, but we've partnered together and we're leveraging a lot of our client base.
Yep.
But the Olympians that we've been working with are very excited and they're backing it up.
Awesome.
So,
And I want to touch base on the athletes that you work with, because I know you also have ambassadors. But
yeah, we have 90. We have 90 ambassadors here in the United States, and then we have 15 over in Europe. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. Before we get on the ambassadors and how you go about selecting them and bringing them into the family. So, you're a female who is running a business that you started that you admitted didn't know much about, if anything at all. Mm-hmm. You were a competitive triathlete. Like, what are some of the challenges you faced as a female in business that you were able to overcome because of your competitive triathlete side and running a team as well, that I found out earlier? How does that translate to running the company that you run?
I guess because I was competitive in triathlon, it taught me to be competitive in business. And we have plugged along and kept our head down since 2004. And there's so many different products that come out that are similar, different brands that try and compete in our space. And, of course, we're human, we get freaked out, but we just say, just stay in our lane, keep your head down and do what you do best. And that's what you're doing in triathlon too. It's like, you can't be affected by all the noise that's out there. You may be a triathlete and you may have an older bike and you're next to somebody that has this fantastic, $12,000 bike with, deep dish wheels and all that. And you're like, oh my God. And they're in your same age group and you're freaking out. But then maybe they might come in last. You don't know. Maybe they have all the bells and whistles. So, we just keep plugging along. I never think that whenever someone is competing against us, I actually think it's a good thing for us. It's healthy because it makes us elevate ourselves, and we're all human, where you start doing the same old thing and you just start resting on, that everything's going to be fine. And then someone else comes in and it makes you really wake up.
I love the competition, that aspect. And, we're a media company, and right, and so we don't
Oh,
compete with other
yeah.
magazines and stuff like that, right? We're competing with influencers too, right? They're getting budgets that are being allocated, and there are companies that are going to allocate money to influencers, and we get it, right? So we have to do the same thing. Like, what are they doing? What are our competitors doing? But simultaneously staying true to our vision and mission, which was to always tell the extraordinary story of the ordinary athlete. And so we just stay in that path, and we do that as best as we can, to what your point was, right? Like, competition is healthy, but make sure you're doing the things that you're fully capable of, as opposed to trying to do what they're doing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about the athletes. 90 ambassadors here in the US, 15 overseas. Like, when you started the ambassador program, did you ever think it would get this big, and how it managed?
Well, luckily, I have two people that manage the athletes. So when we first started, it's been trial and error for many years. And I'm really happy with our athletes because none of them get paid. I have been hit up, so many times over the years with professional athletes, and we can't afford it. And that goes back to the whole, you got to be careful about what you spend your money on, because it's very tempting to get a call from an agent of so-and-so, and so-and-so wants to represent your brand. Well, that could be a ton of money. And you may not see return on your investment with that. So we had to be very careful. So what we did was we opened it up to people who just wanted to be a part of our company. And we have a questionnaire that goes out. It's pretty much an application. I think it goes out, I want to say it's usually in November. And then we close it out in December. And then the decisions are made in January, I think. So, but I'm really happy because all the people who are ambassadors, they believe in our products. And, going back to how you work with the ordinary athlete, we do too.
Yeah.
We love working with, kids. We love working with old people. We love working with, maybe my favorite is when you see someone who's overweight and they're doing the triathlon. And because that is not easy to do. And, and I love seeing all of that. I love working with women. I love working with men. And that's where I was really fortunate in the business too, is that when I came in, there was hardly any women doing triathlon and being CEOs of, companies like in our space. And so all these guys, I don't know, I think I've always gotten along with guys. And so these guys of different companies like John Mix from Finis and, other ones, they would take me under their wing. Like I was their sister, little sister, and they would teach me, like they would give me little, piece of advice. And that's where I like to coach other companies or someone who has a question, because it's just paying it forward. That's all.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as you were giving us that answer, I just thought of something. So like you said that your family was, started businesses, and it's kind of always been in your blood, which means that you're by nature a risk taker.
I guess.
You know what? We were just talking about this, that to really live life fully, you have to take risks at some point. Starting a business is one thing, but no matter what it is, you have go to a restaurant and order the dish that doesn't sound like something you would eat, right? Because it might be fantastic.
Right.
As small of a risk as that. But when you, do you think if you had not had that sort of background in families, in your family starting businesses and running businesses, do you think you would have been a risk taker and started this business?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. It's like people always say, would you, knowing what you know now, would you do it again? Or how do they word it? I always say either I'm really dumb or or really determined. Because there are times where, in the very beginning, I was working for 5 cents an hour, if that, maybe a penny an hour, you
Yep.
know? There are
Yep.
times where you have to not pay yourself to pay your employees, especially during COVID. You know, that was
Yep.
another story. But even before that, you know, you had to save enough money to make more product. There's always a challenge
Yep.
that comes along. It's not a day that goes by that I don't have a problem that I have to solve. And I think that that's what I learned in my upbringing. Now that we're talking about it, I come from a long line of problem solvers. And my mom, she just mentioned this the other day. She goes, you know, we're all problem solvers. My kids are all problem solvers, you know. And I was talking to his name is James Locke. He's from Zone 3.
Okay.
And, you know, the wetsuits
Yep.
and swimsuits and stuff. I was talking to him this morning, and I said, isn't it nice when you're watching a movie and you see they're starting a business, but then they go through all these problems and they can't pay themselves? Doesn't that make you feel good? You know, it's like misery loves company. You like seeing other people, you know, are having the same problems that you're having. And it just never goes away.
I'll put myself into the group with you guys too, because yeah, when you first start out, like, you're so focused on growing the business and everything else. To your point, you're making a nickel an hour, a penny an hour, if anything at all, right? You're just trying to grow the business. I mean, we're only 2.5 years old. And I mentioned that, you know, when I launched the business, I had 28 years of marketing and advertising experience, but that doesn't mean anything, right? You know,
you have a good infrastructure.
Yeah. Of people like you, like, we talk about risk. Like, I found you on LinkedIn and I was like, you know, cold email. Let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, she ignores me. Best case scenario, she says, hey, let's chat.
Yeah.
Right. You take the risk, and now here we are. You've been with us about a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
First thing, I didn't address it earlier, but you mentioned how fun your team is.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, on a daily basis, I laugh at the reels that your team puts out or on Instagram, like, because they are just, you know, I hate the cliche, but it's true. They're so out of the box.
Yeah.
And the normal everyday stuff that they make me laugh, and then they inspire me. And I'm like, well, what should we be doing?
Yeah.
Like, how do we take our product and make it as fun as Karen and her team has?
I'll have to tell Ruben you said that. Ruben's in charge of all of that.
I know.
Yeah.
And Aum talk to each other often through direct message, and I know that Ruben had put us in touch with, I believe her name is Maria Castro, and we did a little story on her on our website, and we also share a commonality in that Adina O'Neill, who is on your ambassador team, and she writes for us a lot and is one of our biggest supporters, and we love Adina here at Run Try Bike. And so, you know, we get to see that crossover and that. It's fantastic. We're getting a little late into the show, so I want to make sure I get a couple of these questions in before I forget. One of the things that we had talked about in the green room was charities and the causes that you support. And I'd love for you to expand on that, because you are in business. And like I tell my students, we're in business to make money. But, you know, if you're able to help charities and causes and do good in the world, you should do that too, is what I tell them. And so help us know, you know, who is it that you're supporting in causes, and who could we be looking at so that we as individuals can help them too?
Well, there was one that we supported, and it was when the war started in Ukraine. And, you know, it's interesting because you don't realize that people in other parts of the world swim. And when the war happened, because we have the office in Poland, and a lot of those kids who were being displaced, you know, from the war, they were being placed by our office was finding homes with other swim coaches in Poland for them to go stay. And so our office wanted to make sure that they weren't going to be disrupted in their daily life, or try and keep as much normalcy as possible. And so they found some swim coaches and swim families that were willing to bring them in and feed them. And then we provided new equipment for them. Fenice joined us in doing that. We sent money over there and helped with feeding them, because, you know, all of a sudden you're going from a family of 4 to maybe a family of 8. Right. You know, that it's a lot. So that we've kind of backed off of that lately. And so right now we're working on Save Our Beach, which that's more of a local one, but beaches, oceans are very near and dear to us. And we went down and we were helping with this organization last year, and we're continuing it. In fact, we're doing it with them again on Saturday as well. So if anybody is in Southern California near Seal Beach, we're going to be there on May 20th from 9 to 11, and we're just going to be cleaning up the jetty. You wouldn't believe how much trash is there. And you can check out our website or our Instagram later, because I think Ruben's going to be posting some pictures like he did last year of us cleaning up. But, you know, everything flows down the jetty in Southern California, you know, the homeless trash, and it gets buried in the rocks, and it's horrible. And so it's very important for us to keep our beaches very clean, you know, for the wildlife and for people to enjoy too.
We'll put that in the here as well.
Okay, thanks.
So that you guys can see it.
That's great.
My last question for you before we get into the rapid fire is, I've been eyeing the Denny Crum 2-mile swim. Do you know of that event? It takes place.
I don't. Where does it take place?
In Hermosa Beach.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know about that.
You start at Hermosa Beach, you swim out beyond the pier, then you swim to Manhattan Beach and go around the pier there, and you finish, and it's a 2-mile swim.
Oh, the 2-mile swim?
Yeah. So I've been eyeing that to get some tips from you if you hadn't heard about it.
Well, no, I haven't heard that. I used to swim we called it the peer-to-peer. It was Balboa to Newport.
Okay.
And I remember one time we were standing on the beach, and there was a helicopter that was going up and down because there was a shark sighting. and the race director, he said, okay, so you can back out if you want, but if you don't want to, just swim fast. So we did. That was the worst swim of my life. Oh my gosh. I felt like I swam all the way. I wasn't sighting right that day, and I felt like I went all the way to Catalina and back. But yeah, that was a difficult one.
Have you ever raced Alcatraz, the Escape from Alcatraz?
Okay, no, I have not done that one, because my kids, when they were really young, they saw the cartoon ad for it. And there was a shark coming up. So there was a swimmer swimming on the top, and Alcatraz is in the back, and a shark is coming up. And so from that point, my kids told me I could never do it. Now they're in their 30s, you know, so I'm sure I could get away with it. But that's a grueling race. We've done the expo many times, and it looks really hard.
Yeah. So like
I've current.
When I was racing more often triathlon than I do today, I was asked often, are you going to do Escape from Alcatraz? And I'm like, think about this for a moment.
Get shoved off a boat.
Yeah. Hundreds of people that look like seals swimming in shark-infested waters. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Are you crazy? No, that one just didn't appeal to me. Just because part of my life, I grew up in the Bay Area. Okay. And I know the Bay, and I know how choppy that water gets.
Yeah.
And no.
And plus.
And cold.
Yeah.
Super cold.
Plus the water's freezing.
Very cold.
This, I raced at the Indian Wells 70.3 as part of
I
did the bike portion, but I had been swimming in the lake in Arizona through December, and it was as cold as 52 degrees in the water. And I was like, like, this is so cold. Like, why people swim in this purposefully?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they had to. One time I was supposed to race in it, and it was the only time that they got snow right outside of Palm Springs. And so I remember the race director, he called it. He said, no, because people are going to get hypothermia. It was raining, and it was, and he made a good decision. Plus, back then, the potholes were unbelievable on that road.
It's that road. It's still not that much better, honestly. Like, pretty.
Yeah.
Well, there's an idea for you in terms of product, right? So, people, when they swim in cold water, put Vaseline on their face to keep it. Yeah. So that might be a product for you in the future.
Maybe a heating Vaseline.
There you go.
Just put all over your body.
For all you soon-to-be entrepreneurs, this is how it gets started. One person idea out, next thing you know.
Oh, you should hear some of the stuff that goes on in our office, like some of the crazy ideas we come up with.
You'll have to invite me in one day so I could just listen and because I think it would be fascinating to hear. You would be laughing hysterically. That's for sure. Karen, thank you so much for your time. We're going to rapid fire questions because I don't want to go all day. So our rapid fire questions tend to focus mostly on food since, we're endurance athletes and we're always either eating for energy or recovering with food in some form or fashion. But we like to touch on the touchy topics of food. So pineapple on pizza. I know you're in California.
Oh.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Perfect. I'm a New York City kid. Like the only thing that belongs on pizza is sauce and cheese.
Pepperoni and cheese.
That's it.
No. In fact, my husband and I, we just had this conversation the other day. He loves it. And I'm like, at no part should hot fruit be on a pizza with tomato sauce. Ever.
I always tell people, like, why do you want more acid on your acid? Like pineapple and so are tomatoes. Like, it doesn't make sense.
True. It's so true.
I love it. So here's the next one. Candy corn. Is that a real candy or is it just earwax coated in sugar?
It is not a real candy. I think it gets stuck in your gut, and it could be earwax mixed with sugar, with pretty food coloring.
That's right. Are you a fan of Peeps? The Easter candy that comes out?
You know what? I used to love Peeps, and then as an adult, giving him, when the Easter bunny.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't think they taste as good as when I was little. And it's the same with Twinkies. I had a Twinkie for the first time in like 30 years and it does not taste as good.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's just our taste buds that changed.
They changed the filling. So when we were kids, the filling was like sugary gritty, like you could actually taste the sugar.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, now you can't. Whatever they did, they changed the formula.
It's so bad. And
terrible.
Now but I have to give a plug for, oh my God, what's it called? Little Debbie. Little Debbie Nutty Buddies.
Yes.
Anytime I go to CVS, my mom got me hooked on it. And she's like, we would go to CVS and she had a coupon. And that's the only time she buys the Nutty Buddies. Well, I bought them out the other day because I'm so afraid of running out in my cupboards. They were $2.79 for a box. They're like stuffed. They're not like air, and like, packaging. It's like that box is what you're getting of cookies. So there's my plug. Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll continue on a Little Debbie. I don't know if you remember in 2014 when Little Debbie was announced as the title sponsor for Ironman Chattanooga.
No.
There was this uproar. Like, how could this company be the sponsor of this healthy sport that we're all participating in? And I raced it, and I just remember at the finish line, like, I couldn't get enough of the oatmeal cream pies and oatmeal peanut butter pies that they were handing out.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many athletes were like, no, I don't want to eat that because this is not the healthy product that I'm supposed to eat.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? After I would race, I would eat anything. Just like, especially, I remember when I first started and I was at this bike shop and this guy, he said, you want to know what the best recovery food is? And he said, because you're probably always trying to buy, candy bars or put potato chips in or something. You need something. He said chocolate milk. And since then, I was doing chocolate milk, and now it is known as a recovery. But back then it wasn't.
It's crazy. Like everybody has their own thing, right? Like whatever it is that you want to recover with it. Like, don't worry.
Exactly. Don't worry about anybody else.
I'm going to go back to Peeps for a second. So we mentioned Adina sent me stale Peeps because we've had people on the show claim that the best type of Peep is a stale Peep, which doesn't make sense. But anyway, so Adina sent me some from, I think she lives in Boston, but from New England area. And so it took a couple of days to reach me in Phoenix, and they were stale. They were horrible. Like, it's just
so Adina was lying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she was, because she did say she enjoys stale Peeps. Like, I don't guess
it's just, I mean, they're the cutest things. They really are.
They're good in the package. We'll leave them there. Stare at them.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Are you a fan of licorice?
I do like licorice. I don't like the red licorice. I love black licorice. And so that means that I also like, oh my God, what is it? Absinthe. Have you ever tried absinthe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Without the opium. They don't make it with opium anymore. Yeah. But anyways, absinthe, I like that. And then I put that in champagne.
Interesting.
So that is called Death in the Afternoon, and it was started by Ernest Hemingway. That was one of his favorite drinks. And you just pour a glass of champagne until you have like maybe a shot left, and then you pour the rest with absinthe in there, and it's really good. If you like black licorice, it turns the champagne sort of like kind of a light green.
And it's called Death in the Afternoon.
It's called Death in the Afternoon. Yeah.
So brunch mimosas out. Death in the Afternoon is in.
Death in the there you go.
Red velvet. Is red velvet a real flavor, or is it just chocolate cake with red food dye?
I think now that you're saying that, I think it's chocolate cake with red food dye.
Yes.
What do you think? Yeah.
You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct.
Wait, did you really hear that from someone? I mean, is that how they make it?
Yeah, that's exactly how they make it.
No, I just buy the Betty Crocker mix and then.
That's exactly how they make it.
It's really?
Really chocolate cake with red food dye.
Interesting.
But people love it, and they claim that it's a flavor, and I'm like, it's not a flavor. It's a marketing trick. See, marketing.
I think you're right. Now I'm really disappointed because do you guys have nothing? What's it called? Nothing Bundt the cake?
Yes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love the red velvet, but now maybe not so much. I might as well just get the chocolate.
That's right. See? But I always tell people marketing, when they like, marketing doesn't work. I'm like, do you buy red velvet cake? Because if you do, then marketing works.
Yes. Right? Marketing always works.
It always works. Anyway, Karen, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a blast. I really appreciate you coming on. And also want to thank you publicly for being a partner to Run, Try, Bike. We've been together for a little over a year. And, every 2 months when we get your ad, it always makes me smile. And every day when I see your Instagram posts from Ruben, they're fantastic. So
thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Please do.
Okay, so you asked where to get our products.
Yes.
I had mentioned Amazon, but if you go onto our website, we have one of those location finders. So you can always find all the mom pop stores. I like to encourage people shopping for mom pops. And then of course, Amazon, of course, Swim Outlet too. Awesome. So yeah, but we really want to support those small businesses.
So I may have to hit you up later on because I do teach intro to marketing. And you just talked about basically where to buy it, which is the place. We can talk about like all the 4 P's of marketing, which is something that we emphasize in intro to marketing. So you might have to be a case study for my next term for my students coming up.
Sure. I like to talk.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right.
Really appreciate it. Those of you that are joining late, this will be on our feed, and it will also be on our YouTube channel and our website by Thursday of this week. So check out the full conversation there. Have a great night.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.